Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and another episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions, and I do my best to answer them. To cover on the gameplay today, this first match is going to be just Black Ops 3 gameplay this week, but this first match is going to be a very close game. We're playing a bit of Kill Confirmed here on the map Stronghold, and we're using the Razorback, which I made a video earlier today talking about the Razorback. If you guys haven't checked out that video, I would highly recommend watching that video after you're finished up with this one. But yeah, I'm using the Razorback. I really enjoy this gun, but I don't do as well in this video as I did in that last one, and as a result, the match is a lot more close. It's a really competitive game, and hopefully you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy it while we go over the questions for this week's episode of Dear Nero. The first question, we're going to be hitting hard right away. He's going to write, Dear Nero, why do you play games, and how do you think games are good or bad for people? Andrew from Texas. So Andrew, right away, he's going to ask me questions. Why do I do that thing that I basically dedicated nearly my entire adult life to? Why do I play games, and do I think they're good or bad for people? Ultimately, I think games are good for people, and I'll be getting to that later on here in the video. But first and foremost, why do I play games? It's actually a really good question. Why do I play games? And if you guys can answer me in the comments, why do you guys play games? Why do any of us play games? I think the reason why I initially started playing games was because it is the most immersive and interactive form of entertainment, or at least one of the most interactive and immersive forms of entertainment. You know, I'm not watching something happen, I'm experiencing something happen when I'm gaming. You know, it's not like watching movies, it's not like reading a book, it's not like watching a television show. I'm actually there, you know, from the intense matches of Call of Duty to like the immersive open world RPG games like Fallout and stuff. I am essentially in that world, I am playing in that world, I am manipulating and doing things there, I'm interacting with stuff, and as a result, gaming, in my opinion, is just one of the best mediums for entertainment. You know, for me, it's a lot more immersive. I just find games to be a lot more entertaining than, again, going back to more traditional forms of media like watching television, watching a movie, reading a book, or like even old school stuff like listening to the radio and stuff like that. Like, while I like all of those things individually, ultimately I like gaming more because, again, I get to just do whatever. You know, it's me going in this world and experiencing stuff, manipulating it, and just, to me, it's the most interactive and immersive form of entertainment. Do I think gaming is good? Overall, I think it is, obviously. Gaming, for me, is a bit more than what it is for a lot of people. I have made a career out of it, while at the same time, it's also my hobby and my passion. I think gaming itself is a good thing. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with gaming. You know, obviously it can negatively impact your life if you allow it to, but that could be said about literally anything. You know, if you work, right, if you're working but you are missing work to play video games, that's a bad thing. You know, if you have school and you're still in school but your grades are going down because you're spending more time gaming than you are actually doing your schoolwork and studying and all that stuff, then obviously it's a bad thing. Now, I think we've all had situations where we're like, hey, we're going to stay up a little bit longer than we probably should. I'm going to be tired going into work tomorrow, but, you know, whatever, I just wanted to play a couple more matches or stuff like that before bed. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's not inherently a bad thing. Same thing goes for school. Like, oh, I'm going to put off my homework for half an hour because I want to continue to, you know, play a couple more matches or something like that. That's fine. Just as long as gaming doesn't negatively impact your life, then there's really nothing wrong with it, in my own personal opinion. I've been gaming my entire life, and it hasn't negatively affected my life whatsoever because there's time for gaming, there's time for fun, then there's time to buckle down and get stuff done. And as long as you can understand that, you know, there's no downside to gaming. And again, that could be said for just about anything. You know, there's people that instead of, you know, doing their homework, they'll sit there and binge watch Netflix. What's to say that's different than gaming? You know, it really isn't. So ultimately, I think gaming is a good thing. It all just comes down to how often you play and whether or not you're playing at the right time, right? It all comes down to moderation. It all comes down to playing when you were supposed to and not letting it like overtake your entire life. Same as just about any other thing out there. So yeah, ultimately, I think gaming is a really good thing, and I'm happy about my decision to be a gamer. You know, I have been pretty much the entirety of my life. I started out on the Sega Genesis and then moved on to the Game Boy Color, and, you know, so on and so forth. I've been playing games ever since I was like, gosh, 6? Something like that. I don't know. It's been a long time, right? The majority of my life, I have been playing games, and ultimately, it hasn't negatively affected my life whatsoever. In fact, it's made my life infinitely better, because if I wasn't a gamer, I wouldn't have gotten into YouTube, and I wouldn't be here today, and I love where I am today, and I have all of you guys to thank for that, so thank you guys very much. Next question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, will we ever see your return to Twitch? The fans want it. It would be super fun and really chill. No reason not to. We've heard you say no in the past, but we've also heard some maybes, so my question is, in what circumstance would you live stream again? Thank you, Jacob from the Great White North. So Jacob, you are right. I have definitely flip-flopped on the issue of going back to Twitch and becoming a live streamer and so on and so forth. But here's the thing. I've never actually been a live streamer. I've done a couple of live streams. That's the thing. I've done a couple of live streams in the past. In terms of Twitch, I think I've done one live stream, which was Battlefield 4, was it? I'm pretty sure it was Battlefield 4. And I was going to stream the Titanfall beta, but I couldn't get it to work. So if you actually go to my stream, I'm pretty sure it says Titanfall beta, and I couldn't actually get the stream to work, so that's my title. That's what it still is. So I've never actually really streamed on Twitch, even though I have like 1,000-something followers just for having a Twitch channel. I never actually streamed on Twitch. I have streamed a couple of times here on YouTube. It was Call of Duty Zombies with fans. It was actually really fun in Black Ops 2. I would live stream with Foxhound, and we would we'd play Grief. So Foxhound and I'd be on a team, and then we would get 6 people off of, like out of the stream, and they join my session, and then they would like randomly be put on my team or put on the other team, and we would try to survive against each other, and it was fun. It was a fun little thing there, but ultimately I don't really plan on coming back to live streaming anytime in the near future. Just I don't really have any immediate plans. There's really no benefit to it. I mean, I don't know where to begin live streaming. I mean, I could start doing that, but I have no idea what I'm going to need tech-wise or how to set that stuff up. It was always foreign to me. I refuse to stream Call of Duty, and I know that's the main thing that my viewers would want to see, but I refuse to live stream Call of Duty. If I were to stream, it would be random games, not COD, and that's because I found that when people live stream Call of Duty, it's way more toxic than you would like want it to be. Like, people are constantly joining your session, people are judging you. Like, if you have a bad game or something like that, people jump on your back really quick. I don't think I would ever want to live stream the actual multiplayer of Call of Duty, and I never have, for that very reason, because I've watched people's COD live streams, and chat is always just very toxic and stuff, so I wouldn't want that. If I were to stream, it would be other stuff. What that stuff may be, I don't know. Maybe zombies, maybe this is recent in my mind, but City Skylines, because they have a new expansion coming out where there's gonna be snow. It's gonna be really cool. Like, I would stream games like that if I were to stream, but again, I don't really have any plans to stream. I'm not a Twitch partner. That definitely creates a little bit of a barrier there. I'm not a Twitch partner, and I'd have to actually work to become a Twitch partner, which doesn't really sound fun in my opinion. There's literally just no real benefit besides the live interaction with fans, which would be like my favorite part of live streaming. Is while we're playing a game, all you have to do is look over there at the chat. They're like, hey, there's all these people here. Let's chat. Let's have some fun. That's my favorite part about live streaming, but ultimately, I feel as though I'm pretty good at like live recording games or recording games live. I have a Let's Play channel with like 700 videos on it, so I feel as though I'm pretty good at recording stuff live, but I like being able to play games and record myself live without having to worry about people joining session, or worrying about what the chat is saying, or worrying about what my stream's looking like. Am I dropping frames? You know, what's happening here? Was my overlay correct? Like, it just seems like a bunch of extra work for something I'm not all that interested in. You know, I watch live streams occasionally, but it's just not a big part of my content consumption, I suppose. What I watch is actually videos. I like videos in the format of videos. So I think I'm going to continue doing videos here on NerosCinema the way I always have. And if you like live style stuff, that's over on Nero's Let's Plays. That's basically the gist of things. So next question, he is going to rate Dear Nero, lightning round. What is your favorite animal? Probably a wolf. What is your favorite chip? This is very specific, but Pringles Tortillas Southwestern Ranch. Those chips are freaking amazing. I know half of you guys are Googling that right now. They're amazing. Try them if you guys haven't already. What is your favorite dessert? Ultimately, I like all kinds of dessert, but mainly my favorite dessert would be ice cream, and if I had to pick a favorite kind, like right now, it would be like Ben & Jerry's Half-Baked, because Half-Baked is delicious. What is your favorite YouTube channel other than yourself? My favorite YouTube channel other than myself right now would be Willy's Gamertag, because I'm not watching a lot of YouTube at the moment, and he does PKA, and I like listening to PKA while I'm making videos or playing games and so on and so forth. Nike or Adidas? Nike. Tea or coffee? Tea. Monster or Red Bull? Monster, although I will say I hate energy drinks, but Monster tea and lemonade is freaking amazing. And all those questions came courtesy of Michael from the Music City. I like those lightning rounds. I think one time I wanted to do like an episode of Dear Nero, which Dear Nero episode 100 was kind of like that, where I answered 100 questions in the video. I think it'd be fun to do like an episode of Dear Nero that's like nothing but either ors like that, you know, or Nike or Adidas, and I just kind of like rapidly go through and like give my answer. I think those questions are fun. Next question, he is going to write Dear Nero. This is kind of a long one. I'm a longtime sub who has been around since the very beginning of your channel back in Black Ops 1. I know that World at War is one of your favorite CODs, and just a couple of weeks ago, I began playing through the campaign on Veteran. I'm nearly finished now, but holy crap, that game is insanely, ridiculously hard on veteran. There's grenades everywhere, and you can't move without being killed, and I can't stand it. It feels like a chore to play the game, and I guess I just wanted to vent to someone about that. But anyways, I wanted to know what are your thoughts about that campaign on veteran, and would you consider in the future doing a playthrough of that campaign, not necessarily on veteran, for your fans who maybe weren't around back then or who never played World at War? Thanks, Zach from North Carolina. Zach. The World at War veteran campaign has claimed another victim. I love getting people to go and try that campaign. It's freaking amazing. So if you guys don't know, Call of Duty World at War is the 5th Call of Duty to ever come out. It was the last World War II Call of Duty to ever be released. It was made by Treyarch. And their veteran mode for their campaign, because every campaign's got like a, recruit, regular, hardened, and veteran, right? The veteran mode in World at War is insanely overtuned to the point where it's so hard that people don't even try to complete it. What they have done with the World at War veteran campaign, and I'm sure some of you guys out there have actually beaten it. You guys know what I'm talking about here, or maybe some of you guys that just gave up on it. It's like your typical Call of Duty veteran campaign where everything kills you very, very quickly, and you basically have to move up very slowly from cover point to cover point. You pick off all the people, then move up, and pick up all the people, and move up, and it's very time-consuming, and there's a little room for error. Now do that, and make it so every single enemy has like 5 grenades. Like, I'm not even kidding. If you stand still for more than a couple of seconds, there will be a grenade at your feet. It's insane. So that entire idea, like how you play a Call of Duty veteran campaign of like find a spot, head poke that spot and like slowly pick off everybody. You can't do that in World at War because there's going to be like 5 grenades. I'm not even kidding. 5, 6 grenades surrounding you at once. Like if you stand still for a couple of seconds, there's just grenades everywhere. Like I don't know how the Nazis or the Japanese lost World War II if they had that many grenades, because it is seriously insane, and it's one of the most difficult Call of Duty campaigns, if not the most difficult Call of Duty campaign out there. And so I love giving the challenge whenever it's brought, like, hey, if you guys haven't tried it out, I would highly recommend going and picking up World at War and playing it through on veteran, and you will see that compared to other Call of Duty games, it's ridiculously hard. I'm not saying it's the hardest game out there. I mean, obviously there's like I've never played it, but apparently like Dark Souls, and there's a lot of like really difficult games out there. But this is up there, man. This is like one of the hardest campaigns you'll play through. In terms of Call of Duty campaigns, I'd say it's probably the most difficult because, again, you are constantly bombarded by grenades while at the same time, you're able to basically be two-shot by any enemy that wants to hit you. It took me so long because I went through and I got all the achievements on World at War. All 1,500 gamer score, in fact, because originally the game came with 1,500 more achievement points worth of achievements were added via DLC. I've completed all the achievements on World at War, and it was not fun whatsoever trying to get through that game on veteran. It was ridiculously difficult, and Zach, I'm glad to hear that you're trying to take on the challenge. But once you're done with it, you can join the elite group, we few, who have actually beaten World at War on veteran. And I highly recommend to all of you guys out there, if you guys haven't tried it, go rent World at War. How much could it cost? Or even like buy it. Like seriously, how much is that game now? Like $10, $20 at the most? Like try that game out and see if you can get through the campaign on veteran. It is ridiculously difficult. Next question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, what are your thoughts on quote-unquote adult things that kids don't learn in school and that they have to figure out on how to do later in life? For example, how to pay taxes is something that most kids are not taught, and you can go to jail or get massive fines that people can never really pay off if they don't pay taxes. I'm talking about the United States alone. Love your videos. Jack from Denver. Jack, I think I've gotten a number of questions about this over the years, and I am so annoyed by it because as a young adult, and spoiler, being a young adult nowadays is a lot easier than it was back in the day, but as a young adult, I'm 24 if you guys are curious. I obviously I'm in that world. I do pay taxes, I do pay bills, I do pay rent. I'm hoping to pay a mortgage soon rather than rent because I'm tired of renting. I pay all of these things, right? But it's not ever like clearly defined how you do it. Thankfully for me, I could always just be like, hey mom, I don't know how to do this. How do I do this? Or if she doesn't know, she knows people that know, and it's easy to figure that stuff out. They don't teach you this stuff in school. They don't teach you how to pay your taxes. I did have a class that was supposed to help prepare you for the future when I was in high school, and all I remember from that class is they taught me how to balance a checkbook. But spoiler, I'm 24, I've never once written a check because you just don't need to. You don't need to write checks whatsoever in today's society. It's a dead art. There's no reason to do it. I have a checkbook. I don't know why I have a checkbook, but I've never even opened it, and all the information I learned in high school is now gone. I don't remember how to I don't know how to like balance a checkbook or even write a check for that matter, because I just never have had to do it. They don't teach you that kind of stuff in school. They don't teach you what are taxes and how do I pay them. They don't teach you how to register to vote. They don't teach you how to buy insurance or the importance of insurance. And they don't teach you like what you need to do, like how to purchase a vehicle. How does that all that work? You know, how do you transfer a title? How do you get insurance for that vehicle? How do you register that vehicle? Like people don't they just don't teach you this kind of stuff. But God forbid they don't go and teach us the anatomy of an atom or something like that. Like they teach us all that stuff, but they don't teach us a lot of the important life stuff that you're kind of left to figure out at the moment you actually get thrown out into the real world. Now, I think the idea behind it is I think that they kind of like expect you to kind of either figure that stuff out for yourself or have other people help you. In school, they're there to teach you academic stuff, and little tiny things like, you know, how to purchase a vehicle, for example, is not really something that's going to be on their radar. They're kind of expecting like, hey, I'm sure you have parents or guardians. They could probably help you out with purchasing your first vehicle and all the things that go along with that. But again, it would be kind of nice if they were to teach us that kind of stuff. I do think it'd be nice if they could implement at least some kind of like an extracurricular, like almost like an elective almost of like how to prepare for the future, where they do teach you how to pay taxes. Like, how are you taxed? Exactly how much are you taxed? Why are you taxed? And how do they determine how much money they take away from you and how much you have to pay them and what happens if you don't pay them, and just the importance of taxes in the economy as a whole. Like, it'd be nice if they were to teach us that kind of stuff. But in my school anyway, we didn't have that. No, I do understand it changes on a school to school basis, and some schools actually do have courses like that, but my school didn't. I didn't have that luxury, I suppose, to learn about that stuff firsthand. Like I mentioned earlier, as a 24-year-old guy living in the United States, I feel as though we are so much better off than our parents or our grandparents in terms of making that transition from, you know, living at home dependent to independent young adult out in the real world. Like, everything is automated these days. Literally anything is automated. Let's say you get a house, right? You get yourself a house or you rent a house or whatever it is that you're doing, or an apartment. You have lots of bills, right? So you are going to be paying your electric. You need to pay your heat. You need to pay for your cable and stuff like that. Like, all this stuff can just be completely automated. Like, wherever it is you're getting your cable and internet, chances are they have a website, and you can just set up auto pay on the website, and it'll automatically take it from your debit card, which will take it automatically from your checking account. You don't have to worry about, you know, bills being sent to your house and mailing out checks or anything like that. Like, you can just automate everything. Like, I do that personally. Like, every single bill I have is pretty much automated. They just automatically deduct it from my bank account, which is nice. There's only a couple things I don't actually have that are being automatically deducted. One of them is the water bill, because there's like no way to do that. I just have to actually go down to City Hall and pay my water bill every month, as well as I actually rented kind of a bunch of furniture. I bought a bunch of furniture on credit, and here is why. Something else they don't teach you in school is credit. What is credit and how do you build it, and how to get a mortgage. They don't teach you any of that stuff in school, which would have been really nice, because as somebody who is renting a house, I've been renting for a while, I would like to actually have my own house. I'd rather actually be paying in on a mortgage rather than just, you know, paying rent. Because me right now, I'm paying rent. I'm paying a lot of rent, honestly, given where I'm living. But I'm paying a lot of rent to these people, and essentially I'm just throwing that money away. Whereas if I had a mortgage, I was paying into a mortgage, then I would actually be paying to pay off of my house, and that would be nice. It would actually be my house. It'd be in my name. But here's the thing, I can't get approved for a mortgage because I don't have enough credit. Like, I was 20 years old and I had no credit whatsoever. And the reason why I had no credit was because I wasn't taught the importance of credit. I didn't know I needed to build credit. Like, why would I do that? So I had to intentionally go out there and get a credit card just so I could start buying random things on that credit card, just so I can pay it off, just so I can start building credit because I'm paying on a credit card. Like, I kid you not, guys, if I go down to McDonald's, I pay for it with my credit card just so I have something to pay off with my credit card, because I don't use it for like literally anything. And basically, it's just adding an extra step into my life just so I can build credit, because you have to build it in one way or another. And so one of the things I did was I went and got basically a whole new furniture set for my living room. I got a couple of couches, I got a table, a rug, as well as a television for my living room. And I got all those things, and I basically bought them kind of on credit through this consumer report thing, where basically it's the same as cash I paid off in the year. And the reason why I did it is not because I couldn't afford all that stuff, but I'm doing it because I need to go out of my way to build credit. You know, and they don't teach you that stuff in school. It would be nice if everybody coming out of high school knew immediately that they need to start working on their credit. The moment you're done with high school, the moment you step out into the real world, you need to start building your credit in one way or another. You can do that by paying bills. You could do that by buying a car and making payments on like a car payment. You can do it by actually just having a credit card and paying that hat off, or doing a wide variety of things, but they don't teach you that in school. And so I had a very late start on that and the entire idea of building credit. So that's one of the things that was always a big pet peeve of mine. I feel as though I've gone on really long with this question, but I guess that's what Dear Nero is about. I don't like, just like you, Jack, I don't like how they don't teach you a lot of that stuff in school, and it would be nice if there were at least some electives or some extra classes that you could volunteer to take to learn this kind of stuff, because I think a lot of people would have a better start in the real world if they had some of that knowledge going into it. Next question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, lately the matchmaking in Black Ops 3 seems to have gone very downhill very quickly. My friend and I both have over 1.5 KDRs and over 1.0 win-loss ratios. We usually play and have a good time, but recently it seems we only win 1 out of 15 games. That seems a little bit low. And the 14 games that we lose, we get absolutely annihilated. When we get annihilated, I mean we get stuck with people who aren't even prestige yet and aren't even level 40. I want to know if you have been experiencing matchmaking imbalancing, and whether people in the comments of this video experience it as well. P.S. I've been subbed since late 2012. Keep up the good work. Sincerely, Nate from Wisconsin. So Nate, first and foremost, thank you for the question. And if you guys can answer for him in the comments, he asked you guys specifically. He wants to know, have you guys been experiencing some matchmaking and balancing? For me personally, I haven't noticed a lot of matchmaking and balancing, but then again, I've always been really weary of my lobbies. I go through my lobbies, I go through them with a fine-tooth comb, just making sure it's the right lobby for me. I'm not saying I try to cherry pick lobbies like, oh no, let's keep backing out until I find a lobby of non-prestiges or something like that. But if I go into a lobby by myself in a game of Kill Confirmed, and I see if there's a party of 5 on the other team and they're all reasonably high prestige, then I look at the other people in the lobby and they're all relatively low prestige and don't have their mics in, and just I'm like, this is a lost cause. There's no point in me being in this lobby. They're going to put me on the opposite team of the party. My teammates are going to suck. I'm going to have to carry them. And even if I do, it's not going to be a fun experience. I'm just going to back out and find another lobby. You need to kind of realize that when you guys get into a match. You kind of look at your lobby, think to yourself, like, is this even going to be remotely competitive? Because if it looks like, because they show you the teams before the match even starts, if it looks like your team is about to just get completely blown out, it's like, no, this isn't even worth my time. I'd rather not sit here and get frustrated. I'd rather just back out and find a lobby where it's going to be a bit more balanced. Occasionally you run into those lobbies again where there's a party of 6 and they're all high prestige and everyone on your team's gonna be low prestige. Just back out of that lobby. It's that simple. And I've been doing that for a number of years now. I recommend everybody do that. There's no point in purposely going in there and getting frustrated over something that really doesn't matter, like an online match of Call of Duty. You're not really proving to yourself that you're an amazing player if you can somehow beat a full party with a bunch of terrible teammates. I mean, sure, that would be a great feat, and I have done it in the past. I'm sure you guys have done it as well, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Like, once you're like out of that lobby and you're in a new one, you forget all about that last lobby that you were in where that party of 6 was just beating up on all the bad players, and it doesn't matter. There's no point in staying there if you're gonna get frustrated and if you're not gonna have fun. So just back out if the lobby doesn't look balanced. Next and final question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, I am a member in my high school's marching band and band program. I love the activity and all that comes along with it, but I have a slight dilemma. All my friends who aren't in band at school give me crap for being in band, call me a nerd, and say bad things about the activity. I try my best to ignore them and not cause an argument, but I always end up doing so because marching band meets all the criteria for a sport. Any ideas on how to get rid of these toxic friends? Ethan from Kentucky. So Ethan, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I sat here honestly racking my brain about this and saying, like, what is the best advice I can give young Ethan from Kentucky here? And ultimately what I came up with is it just doesn't matter. Friends are always going to mock other friends for stuff. That kind of busting your balls kind of thing, activities like what friends do. I make fun of my friend Zach because he swims. I always did. I always made fun of that. And my friends in high school, they made fun of me because I played games, a lot of games, in fact. But at the same time, I also played football and I also ran track and did sports and stuff like that. But they would always make fun of me because I played video games. That was a thing. Again, going back to it, I make fun of my friend Zach because he swims. I always ask him about his Speedo. I had a friend who played tennis, and of course you make fun of the kid that plays tennis. You're just busting each other's balls. That's really what it comes down to. Whether or not you think it's a sport, which I don't want to get into the whole thing here. I personally don't think marching band would be a sport. Walking down a field playing the piccolo is not a sport. It's not the same as football to me. But then again, I'm very outspoken about, esports, why that shouldn't be considered a sport and so on and so forth. I'm very purist and old school, I think, when it comes to the definition of a sport. But ultimately, if you enjoy the activity of marching band, like my mom was in the marching band. If you guys don't know, played the percussion for a little bit, I didn't actually do like in a school band or anything. It was actually in middle school, and like it was just a class where you got to learn an instrument instrument. I learned the percussion because I thought that'd be cool. But, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with being in the marching band. Your friends make fun of you. That's just something that's going to happen. I mean, there's really no way to stop it. I mean, if they're being super toxic about it, where these guys aren't even really your friends, then, you know, maybe start talking to some other people, maybe make some other friends. But ultimately, I think your friends are just busting your balls. That's something that a lot of people do. I bust my friends' balls all the time. They do so to me. It's what we do. You see it all the time. And it's just, I guess it's just part of high school, I suppose. It's just that's what people do. And now I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, you know, that's something that people do, and I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you're enjoying marching band, go for it. If you're enjoying the band program, go for it, right? I mean, what are they doing? Are they sitting home watching television while you're out there actually doing something? Like, who cares what they think? And I'm sure they don't actually care as much as you think that they care, right? I think you're overthinking it a little bit too much. Just ultimately, Ethan, when it comes down to it, it really doesn't matter what they say, and I'm sure they're just busting your balls and just trying to get a rise out of you. And apparently it's worked, considering you wrote in a question here for Dear Nero. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode of Dear Nero. Drop me a rating wherever you guys feel the video deserves. If you guys would like to submit your questions for the next episode of Dear Nero, stay tuned to my Twitter profile. That is right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be trying something a little bit different with the next episode of Dear Nero. Rather than taking questions from my YouTube inbox, we're going to be taking questions off of Twitter. If you guys would like to submit your questions via Twitter, use the hashtag Dear Nero, and I will look through them at the end of the week. And presumably, I don't know how the Twitter hashtags exactly work, so you should probably wait until later on in the week, like next Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, to actually tweet your question to me. Once again, that is twitter.com/NeroTweets, and use the hashtag Dear Nero. And if your question is good, entertaining, and just overall would make a good addition to the show, it may actually be featured in the next episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Drop me a rating, and hope you guys all have a wonderful day.